Hey guys, so live action One Piece came out, and overall, it was amazing. The casting is brilliant, the essence of the characters is in every one of these performances, the practical sets are brilliant, and the practical effects are amazing. Mostly. The writing and the showrunners show a deep understanding for what makes One Piece work. I started watching this the day it came out, well, I've got to get caught up on what shit people are going to be talking in a few days, and when the credits rolled on episode 1, I was like, Did I just have fun? Seriously, they got so much right here. A perfect balancing of tone, Shanks was great, the Straw Hats were great, the fights were great, Mihawk was great. But it's because they got so much right here that I find myself a little annoyed at what they got wrong. And of the three issues that I've had with this season, 2 of them are centered around one character, Usopp. Now, I don't really have any issue with the way Usopp is written as a character, or how he is portrayed by Jacob Ramiro. His interactions with the crew are great, and he is totally believable and even lovable when he's on screen. But I think where they did my boy dirty here is they stripped him of multiple key moments that make this character great. Moments that they actually could have had in the show. So let's go over his introductory arc. The introduction to Usopp sets him up as a liar quite well in the live action, by showing a montage of all the times he's lied to the town. And he's even introduced to the crew by lying to Luffy about the Going Merry. This is all great, but from this point on, this entire arc becomes about Kaya, not Usopp. Usopp becomes a side character in this story, his story. It's meant to be his arc, and he has no defining moments in it. But I can't just make a claim without explaining it, so let me go over what they missed. Spoilers for both the live action and Usopp's arc in the anime. So, in the anime and manga, this arc goes as follows. Usopp is notoriously known as the town liar. His father left to join Shanks' crew, and his mother died of Disney mother syndrome when he was a boy. As a result, he grows up trying to convince the town that they are being invaded by pirates and that he will save them. He does it every single day. Eventually, the town gets fed up with him, all except one person. Kaya, the sick heiress to a family fortune. She loves Usopp's lies and fancies him as an amazing storyteller. It's clear that she doesn't really believe Usopp, but she likes his company and he likes hers, and that she listens to him. They are good friends. However, later in the arc it's revealed that her butler, Kuro, is actually a former pirate, who has been slowly poisoning her to get her fortune when she comes of age to inherit her parents' wealth. And while he's at it, pirates are also gonna ransack the whole town. Usopp finds out about this and tries to warn the town, but of course no one believes him, so he decides to defend the town on his own against the pirates, even though he's clearly outclassed. See, when he was a boy, Usopp made a promise to his mother on her deathbed that one day he would be a brave warrior of the sea, which is why he lies to everyone about his accomplishments. He wants to look that way. But Kuro, of course, easily cuts past him, and as he's walking away, Usopp grabs his leg and says, "It's going to be another boring day in that town because not one pirate will step foot in it." At this moment, Usopp shows us his growth. Before, he wanted everyone to fear the coming of pirates so that he could pretend to protect them and appear the hero that everyone knows. Now, the pirates are here and he's vowing for no one to know because he will protect them, because he is a hero. It is here that Usopp shows us that he's worthy of joining the Straw Hat crew. He becomes a believable, unlikely hero that we want to follow. So, how do they do this moment in the live action? They don't. Usopp isn't really given any defining moments in this show. He has a moment where he vows not to leave Kaya's side, but this just further leans into the problem this show has. Kaya overshadows Usopp in this version of events. The few characterizing moments Usopp has are spent gushing over Kaya, and by the end of the arc you can barely remember Usopp's dream, his vow to become a warrior of the sea, because it's kinda glossed over, which is weird because with every other character they put an amazing emphasis on characters and their dreams and what that means to them, but with Usopp it's like, yeah, warrior of the sea or some shit. Anyway, back to Kaya. Guys, I get wanting to give her more agency, but of these two characters, one of them is going to be part of the main cast. and you are spending your limited time fleshing out the wrong one. I don't dislike Kaya, by the way, but by putting her at the forefront and making her Usopp's primary character motivation, it makes absolutely no sense when Usopp leaves Kaya and joins the Straw Hats. Now, if I was one of the respectable writers that were hired to do this, and not some douchebag sitting in a boiling hot room recording on a webcam microphone, what would I do to fix this? Well, to start, I would have shortened the conversation with Kaya and Nami, and cut most of the Kobe stuff, because he didn't really add anything by being there in this version. And I would have used the time I have to put a little more emphasis on Usopp wanting to be a pirate, maybe showing his secret pirate base. Then later I would have had it so that instead of Kuro walking around the mansion for 30 minutes like a slasher villain, I would have had a brief fight scene where Usopp tells Nami and Kaya to run while he tries to hold Kuro off. Maybe have Usopp pull off some trick shots while Kuro talks shit to him, and Usopp stands strong in the face of adversity but inevitably fails. Show us that he has that warrior spirit that he is so desperate for, and then I'd have the rest of the arc play out as it does in the live action. Because while these episodes are the weakest in the season, you can't exactly skip them. There are some cool moments for each character, and Zoro's backstory was amazing. Oh my god. Zoro's backstory. Zoro's character and motivation is more fleshed out than Usopp in Usopp's arc. Okay, guys, you have been doing way too great a job with this show until now for this to be an accident. Jacob Ramiro is a very beautiful man, so tell me, whose significant other did this man fuck to be undersold this much? Jeez! So, on to the next two problems I have, which take place during the final arc in live action. Arlong Park. Now, to fans of the anime, this arc is notorious. The walk to Arlong Park is something that has One Piece fans so hype that even to this day, few One Piece moments match it in the community. And I'll go into how that's done in the live action in a sec, but right now, we are still talking about Usopp. So in the source material, there's a scene where Usopp is running from one of Arlong's henchmen, and most of his attempts to harm or divert said henchman fail. So in an act of desperation, Usopp pretends to be dead, and the fishman begins to leave. As he is leaving, Usopp starts covering himself in dirt and rehearsing the lies he will tell Nami about how hard he fought and how he couldn't help her save her town despite trying his absolute best. But during the rehearsal of these lies, he starts to realise that the threat he's lying about and facing this time is actually very real, and this henchman being alive won't just put his friends in danger, but it could lead to the continuation of a friend's lifelong suffering. So once again, Usopp decides to stand up and fight, only unlike Kuro, he wins because of an explosive he developed. In the live action, the chase happens and Usopp plays dead, but there is no in-between moment. He plays dead, the fishman turns around and begins to leave, and Usopp stands up and calls after him. So, what was the point in playing dead? He never had any intention of letting the fight end and lying about it later in this version. It wasn't a distraction to get him to let his guard down because he calls after him and lets him know of his presence. So what was the point of doing that within the context of this show? It's not enough to do something because it was in the source material, you have to also understand why something is in the source material. And again, this is something that they've shown incredible competence in everywhere else in this show. But once again, not when it comes to Usopp. What the hell? Anyway, Chew, that's the henchman, says fire attacks won't work on him because fishmen don't catch fire. As he says this, he takes a big swig of his liquor, which was shown earlier to be flammable. And this does an excellent job of subtly letting us know what Usopp can do to turn this fight.
Maybe you don't. But alcohol does.
Why did you say that? You've already done such a good job showing. Why did you have to tell? Whatever. Usopp blows the shit out of him. It's pretty cool, but nowhere near as impactful as it could have been. Moving on. Okay, so for this last part, I wanted to talk about a particular part of the adaptation. The walk to Arlong Park. The reason this is so iconic is because it plays a huge part in Nami's character development, while also showing how far Luffy is willing to go for his friends. So Nami has been working for dreaded fish pirate Arlong since she was a child, and unbeknownst to her village, or really anyone apart from her and Arlong, she's doing this so that she can save up enough money to buy her and her village's freedom. However, when she finally says to Arlong that she has the money, Arlong reports this to the Marines. They show up and confiscate all of her money because it's been stolen, meaning that Nami has to start from square one, something that took her over a decade to do. On top of that, when she goes back to her village, they reveal that they're sick of living under Arlong and that they want to go and fight him, even though they know they'll lose and be killed. Despite her best efforts, she can't convince them to stay, she can't convince them to give up, and they leave, and this breaks Nami. Not only has all of her effort been for nothing, but all of the people that she's done this to protect are going to die in a slaughter. Filled with rage, but no way to actively express it, she begins stabbing her tattoo, a sign of Arlong's ownership of her. That's when Luffy shows up to stop her. She screams, telling him she said to go away, and he agrees in a way that says, "I heard you, but I'm still here." At this moment, Nami realizes that Luffy is her friend, and the only one who might be able to do something. So, in a last moment of desperation, she says, "Luffy, help me." Actively asking for help is something Nami has never done before, showing her absolute trust in Luffy. Luffy then puts his hat on her, the most precious thing he owns, to show her his trust, before saying, "Of course I will." As Luffy walks away, it's revealed that the other members of the Straw Hats were standing there, poised and ready to go. He says, "Let's go." They say, "Right," and then they wordlessly walk to Arlong Park while Overtaken plays in the One Piece OST, which, by the way, is it's just a banger. It's a great song. All of the Straw Hats here are unified in one purpose. Arlong messed with their friend. He made their friend cry, and now he's going to pay. This ends with Luffy breaking down Arlong's doors and saying, "Which one of you is Arlong?" This is easily one of the most hype moments in One Piece to this day. But more importantly, from the moment Luffy says, "Of course I will," that signifies a shift in the narrative. Luffy has agreed to help Nami. He's agreed to go and fight Arlong. This is the point where Arlong's fortune begins to change, where the tides begin to change in the side of good. This is meant to signify the start of retribution against Arlong. So, how did they do it in the live action? Well, they didn't. Well, they did half of it, but they didn't do the walk. They didn't do the bit that comes after the declaration. Instead, in the live action, what happens is Nami's gold is taken, so she has to start from square one. She runs for a bit before falling to her knees and then starts stabbing her arm. The scene from here plays out pretty much as it does in the anime, almost perfectly actually. It's a pretty good replica, and each of the actors fully conveys the emotions they are meant to. It's brilliant, but after saying "let's go" to his crew, Luffy looks over and they notice that the village has been burned down. This immediately redirects all of the weight away from where it's supposed to be. The weight of the crew uniting is no longer the focal point because Arlong is doing something evil again. The attention of the scene goes from the Straw Hats uniting to kick Arlong's ass and right back to what a threat Arlong is. The reason this doesn't work is because Luffy's declaration of course I will," is supposed to be the moment where Arlong's retribution begins. This is meant to be the moment where the tides turn in favour of Nami, in spite of them being against her for so long. But now, all of the wind is completely taken out of those sails, pun intended, because the show's like, "Hey, while you guys were having your moment, Arlong burned the village down." And it completely undercuts the moment. On top of that, instead of actually doing the walk to Arlong Park, they then cut to a scene with the villagers declaring that they're going to go and fight Arlong, which, if you can show this scene, why didn't you do it in the correct order? Why don't you have the money be confiscated and then show the villagers going to go and fight Arlong? Why not do as it was in the anime? This seems like something that was well within their power to do, because all of the necessary scenes are there, but they're just swapped around for no reason and in such a way that makes it not really work. After that, the walk isn't even included, which is a shame because I can't exactly put into words why the walk to Arlong Park is so important, which you'd think I'd be able to do because that's my fucking job. But ask any One Piece fan if they would take out the walk to Arlong Park and they would call you insane. There's something about the Straw Hats uniting under one goal and walking wordlessly with a firm understanding of what they're about to do for the first time in the entire series. It's better than the Avengers teaming up. It conveys to us in the audience that shit is about to go down, and they took it away when they really didn't have to. You're telling me you could make an entire Warzone set to show Nami's mother finding her, but you can't have the crew go for a walk? There's stuff you could have cut out for this, come on. Now, to top off this shit sandwich with some nice tasting bread, I would like to explain that I still think you should very much watch this show. It is a very good show and it is a great adaptation. And the only reason all the stuff in this video annoys me is that everything else is done so well. Things are changed in ways that work. The adaptation actually takes into account what works and what doesn't, and they made the vibe of the show very much One Piece meets Pirates of the Caribbean, so that it works in live action. They made the world believable. Watching this show actually felt like watching One Piece again for the first time. And that is what all adaptations should set out to do. It succeeded in its goal. So the stuff that doesn't work, especially when it could have been avoided, it gets to me a little bit. Now, if and hopefully when this show gets a season 2, maybe they can pick up on what they missed with Usopp, give him a few character moments. They've done enough original work with other characters to show that they understand the essence of these characters and how they work. So, I believe they can do it. It will be hard, but it's within their ability. But yeah, if they keep doing the job they have been doing, I'd say we're in for a great ride. And hey, this one's a direct call out to the producers, directors, and the casting crew of One Piece live action. If you guys haven't cast Crocodile or Lucci yet, send me your details. I will send you an audition that will knock your socks off. I kinda look like both of these characters, so yeah, kinda dumb for me to put myself out like this, I know, but I don't know how to get into the industry, and these are roles that I feel like I was born to play, damn it. Right up there with Harry Dresden himself. So, yeah, get in touch, please. Like and subscribe, and be sure to check out my other videos if you like this one. I talk about anime and all sorts of other crap. I hope you guys have a good day, follow your dreams, and may life reward you for all your hard work. Peace.